All right, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. I haven't made any videos this week because there really hasn't been too much crazy stuff to talk about. Nothing good anyway. Most of DeFi has been a bit of a downer over the last little bit with a couple of highlights. There's a few protocols that are still paying me well, but I did want to jump on. I don't want to go a week without making any content at all. So here is my content. I am doing well still in classic miner. I've been able to pull 3.2 something out of this. So I'm at like 80% to ROI. And right now there's still 65 BNB on the contract balance. So this one's still clocking, but as you can see, my daily ROI percentage has dropped down to 0.44%, which happens with a lot of miners. As you start to claim, that percentage starts to drop. Mine has now dropped significantly, so I'm earning less. This obviously contract balance part of it draining has been going a lot slower because everyone else is in the same boat. If you're claiming, it's slowing down your process. So we'll see what happens. This one had some kind of weird tokenomics and it changed the dynamics of the miner. We originally had this whole jackpot where you could make new deposits, but as people were making new deposits, it was actually dropping their ROI. So this one's been a little bit weird, but it is still paying me. So I'm just allowing it to build up to a level to where it makes sense for me to actually claim with the gas and everything. So I'm gonna let this rock for a few more days and then I'll probably do an additional claim. I did do a little bit of compounding to give myself the extra percentage and try to boost my daily ROI percentage a little bit. That way when I made my claim, it was higher. So I'm just playing that game back and forth. I would say that the likelihood is this is going to last a few more weeks because as it slows down, as people start to claim, that rate that they can claim or their daily ROI percentage is just going to continue to slow down. So it's going to last a little while longer, but it's going to be really slow. I don't expect there to be a tremendous amount of new deposits. I have noticed this fluctuating though, because I think people are trying to grab that jackpot. So they're depositing 0.1 BNB and trying to take 1% of the contract balance or whatever. So that's still happening. So there'll still be some funds incoming. But anyway, classic miner still paying me, not a big money maker. I still have yet to break even on it, but hopefully I will soon. And then I'll squeeze a little bit of profit out of it, but nothing too major. Flex IRA is still paying me. They're still doing a really good job with their external revenue over there. That is an honest protocol, so I don't have any issues. It's not a really high payout, but over time it's going to pay off, I think. And I think my initial was locked up for like 6 months. So here in probably like 3 months, I'd be able to take that back if I wanted to, or I could just let it ride. Right now, I think I've got about $1,750 in this protocol, so not a tremendous amount of money. I'm just going to let it do its thing. It's already at the cap of 1.25 million. That was the fund limit, if you guys can see that. So right now they're not accepting any new investors, but that one is slowly but surely coming along. ARK is still paying me out just a little bit. ARK is 7 cents per token, which is 7 times what drip is right now. So even though this is super low, I can't complain. I have been claiming throughout the week and it's not a lot with my NFT. I'm getting 10-12 bucks a week, but I guess it's something. One that's still paying me well, of course, shameless plug, is our protocol at Foodtopian. We've sold some more NFTs, had some additional investors come into the protocol. We're getting ramped up. I don't know if you guys have been seeing all the images and stuff of all the food we've been buying to sell, but starting to get really exciting. I think we're doing one last push here on the NFT sales. Then I believe we're going to close those down. Those are going to sell out, and we're going to focus on the saucepans and everything to get that up and off the ground. The reason we're doing an initial push right now, or I guess more of a final push at these NFT sales, is we do have a brick and mortar restaurant that came up that it's a screaming deal, and if we could get it, it would be really helpful. As you can imagine with the food trucks, we got a lot of stuff we need to store, places to park things. This would give us an additional facility, both to make revenue out of, but do some storage so we're not paying somewhere else to be storing all the equipment, storing the vehicles, storing the food, all that type of stuff. So that's the reason. Things are going well. As you guys know, if you've been following this closely, we've had some issues with the on-ramp, us putting a bunch of money back in. I think anything over 500 bucks was getting flagged. So we've been working with the bank's business development team to make sure that doesn't happen. Our last on-ramp of capital went well. So if that continues, we should be off to the races from here on out. So thank you guys for your support. If you guys are invested, you should be enjoying a steady stream of BNB. Another one that's doing well for me is Speakeasy. And again, this is one of the few devs that's honest. Kirk is a really nice guy, and all the protocols that he's created have done well. He also has a new project coming out that I'm going to talk about soon. It is not a DeFi project, but he's utilizing DeFi to do a capital raise. I don't want to talk too much about it because I haven't cleared it with him, but he's developed a product that is really awesome. Of course, it's an in real life business, real life revenue streams. He's basically doing the Foodtopian model for something more specific in the software development world. So more on that later, but this one has been consistently paying me out. My claim days, I think, have been Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I'll come in and I'll probably claim. I have let it ride a few times, but in this protocol, I'm doing pretty well too. I think I'm already at like 80% ROI. Next up, another protocol that's still doing well for me is BigWhale. As you can see, in about 2 hours, I've got my next claim. I'm doing really solid in this. The money is coming in like clockwork, and I've just been withdrawing every couple days, taking money out of the system and getting to that break-even point. Then I may do some compounding, or I may just claim. This is about $1,000. BNB obviously has dropped, so this is the current value of BNB, but I basically put $1,000 into this protocol, and I'm pretty close to getting it all back. So shout out to everyone who's joined me on this protocol. This one's been around for a while. It launched in March, and it's now September, and it's working well. I think they should put a caps on, on their TVL, because at some point they're not going to be able to loan out as many of these BNB or whatever currency that they're trying to loan out to be able to get these rates. Eventually, that interest is going to dry up. You're just not going to have that many people wanting to loan out at those high rates and really do hard money loans. So I think they should cap it and just let it rock for as long as possible. But of course, I'm not in charge of the protocol. But that's my 2 cents on that one. I am making money in this one, so right now, solid. Next up, let's talk about elephant money. So I haven't really talked about elephant money too much, but a few months ago I did buy in. I bought a chunk of elephant money, and then when they came out with the NFTs, I bought some of those, and so I've got that staked, and I was able to just pull some elephant and stuff it over into the balance, I guess, that I have, because elephant, when you just buy elephant money, the token, it's really more of a buy and hold scenario, but it's had a really good chart, just continuing to go up. I am going to try to talk a little bit more about this protocol here soon, because it is really solid. It's just a little confusing how Bertha works, which is the treasury. And even though I'm just continually learning about it, there are some buddies of mine that are way more experts in this category than I am. So I may bring them on, maybe do some AMA, something like that, but I will talk about this a little bit more. This is a protocol that's doing really well. I don't know if it's one that's ever going to make you millions of dollars. In my humble opinion, this could easily 10x from here, probably at the minimum, just based on the tokenomics. So I'm bullish on this one. If you followed me for a long time, you know that I'm not super high on BT or his antics. And you'll know, if you've been following Drip, that BT and Forex kind of have a feud. It's always ongoing. And I think it's kind of funny because they're really the same person. They're both brilliant devs, brilliant visionaries. They're both narcissistic. They're both full of themselves. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that they crash heads. Anyway, so far, this one is working for me. I was actually about to get into Elephant before the exploit, which was like a year ago, or a year and a half or something. After that happened, I didn't like how it was handled, so I waited a long time to get in, and then some of my buddies convinced me that it was a good time. I jumped back in, and it's been a pretty good investment for me so far. Outside of that, nothing is really working well. Delta Ventures, obviously full rug. Super pissed about that one. I lost a lot of money. Green Figures seems like it's probably going to be a rug. Mo's been talking about the money being tied up at the brokerage, and he's going to get it resolved. They locked down the chat. George, I had a lot of trust in George, and I know a lot of people did and jumped into the protocol. I honestly can no longer speak to his character. I don't know exactly how far he's been involved in this, but he hasn't been extremely responsive. There's a lot of people digging up old dirt on him. I can't say for sure whether it's true or not, but I do feel that even if he wasn't involved on this, that he did leave a lot of investors high and dry, which screwed a lot of people who got in because of his good name. So I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope those issues do get worked out with the brokerage, because I'm due a refund of like $5,500, and that one would sting. So altogether, from Delta Ventures and Green Figures, I'm like $9,500 in the hole, which is extremely frustrating, but that's how it goes. We play these high risk games, and sometimes we get wiped out, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. And to be honest, it just makes you want to get into protocols that have immutable contracts and just roll the dice. Try to get in early on day one, ride the protocol out, try to shave your 10, 20, 30% off, and then just go from there. Because if DeFi's taught us anything this year, it's that very, very, very few people are trustworthy. And last but not least, we'll just hit Animal Farm real quick, which is just wrecked. Pigs are down to 15. Dogs are down to 288. I'm still holding like 100 pigs and 450 dogs, or 430 dogs, something like that. They're not worth very much anymore, so I'm just going to leave them alone and wait until the bull market. I'm earning basically nothing here. Animal Farm is by far my biggest loss in DeFi yet. So I'm hoping, since the protocol is not dead, obviously, that when the bull run comes back around, all these assets end up, coming back up, and I can make some good money here. But as it is right now, Animal Farm is the biggest loss I've ever had in DeFi. Second biggest loss is Drip, and I think I'm down like 10 grand or something like that across all my wallets. So as it is right now, Drip's down to a cent. And I think for the most part, until something major happens like a bull market, I think we can basically think Drip is dead. You're going to be able to save a few bucks out of it per month, but it's not going to be a lot. For reference, ARC is 7 times the price right now, the token price of Drip, and even Furio is like 3 or 4 times the price. So not much more to say about that. You do have major pillars of the community deleting videos and all that type of stuff about the old stuff. I'm going to leave mine up. I mean, the truth is, I listened to what Forex said. We hung on and hoped that some of these developments would end up being really big and really bullish for the system. They really, frankly, for the most part, turned out to be failures, and that's how it goes. So we'll just be transparent about it. It was really frustrating to watch it continue to drop. The new protocols and stuff that came out, like Triple D and all that, or the new pieces of the protocol, I guess, they just came out way late. Way too little, way too late. You know, the year to 18 months of having frustrating times with the team and having to be rebuild is just too long in most businesses altogether, unless you have a really well-established business, and way too long in DeFi because it's such a, you know, fast-paced environment. So pretty frustrating, but, you know, just trying to be transparent. That's how it goes. I definitely didn't think that of all the protocols out there that Drip and Animal Farm would be by far my biggest losses. But we live and learn. And hopefully, since these are all immutable smart contracts, things will just keep cooking and we'll end up in a good position. I didn't mention, but I should, on the good hand, on the good side of the protocols that are doing well for me, Pulse Drip is still doing really well. So this price has been fluctuating between like $14 and $16, just back and forth. We're basically stuck right in that medium range of $15. It's been working like clockwork, no issues here. Like I said, I'm going to add a little bit over time. I'm just trying to get some additional capital onboarded. That way I can add a little bit. I had a pretty good chunk of capital floating around the DeFi system, and I would move it over to a new protocol, you know, once I got in, or I was taking gains from Green Figures or Delta Ventures or whatever the case may be. But since 8 out of the 10 are just really failing right now, I don't have as much liquid capital. I got to inject a little bit more. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, my intention was not to make this video too long, just to get some content out, because I know you guys like to check in at least once a week, see how things are going. But most of DeFi is a bloodbath, as you've seen. There are a few good protocols that are still doing well. There's only a couple that claim to have external revenue that are real, and the rest of the stuff we should just stick with these smart contracts. So a couple little protocols I'm looking into. Maybe I'll do like an intro video just to get them in front of you so you can take a look, even if I'm not in them yet, just to make some content, because I don't want every video I make to be a recap of how trashy DeFi is right now. That's obviously not super positive and not incredibly entertaining. So that's it for me. Hope you guys have a really good weekend. Happy investing.